Miscellaneous Writings, Book 3, by C. H. Mackintosh, Evangelization, A Word to the Evangelist. Letter 7 of 7. Through want of space I was obliged to close my last letter without even touching upon the subject of the Sunday school. I must, however, devote a page or two to a branch of work which has occupied a very large place in my heart for 30 years. I should deem my series incomplete were this subject left untouched. Some may question how far the Sunday school can be viewed as an integral part of the work of evangelization. I can only say it is mainly in this light I regard it. I look upon it as one great and most interesting branch of gospel work. The superintendent of the Sunday school and the teacher of the Sunday school class are workers in the wide gospel field, just as distinctly as the evangelist or preacher of the gospel. I am fully aware that a Sunday school differs materially from an ordinary gospel preaching. It is not convened in the same way, or conducted in the same manner. There is, if I may so express myself, a union of the parent, the teacher, and the evangelist, in the person of the Sunday school worker. For the time being he takes the place of the parent, he seeks to do the duty of a teacher, but he aims at the object of the evangelist, that priceless object, the salvation of the souls of the precious little ones committed to his charge. As to the mode in which he gains his end, as to the details of his work, as to the varied agencies which he may bring to bear, he alone is responsible. I am aware that exception is taken to the Sunday school on the ground that its tendency is to interfere with parental or domestic training. Now I must confess that I cannot see any force whatever in this objection. The true object of the Sunday school is not to supersede parental training, but to help it where it exists, or to supply its lack where it does not exist. There are, as you and I well know, hundreds of thousands of dear children who have no parental training at all. Thousands have no parents, and thousands more have parents who are far worse than none. Look at the multitudes that throng the lanes, alleys, and courtyards of our large cities and towns, who seem hardly a degree above mere animal existence, many of them like little incarnate demons. Who can think upon all these precious souls without wishing a hearty Godspeed to all true Sunday school workers, and earnestly longing for more thorough earnestness and energy in that most blessed work? I say, true Sunday school workers, because I fear that many engage in the work who are not true, not real, not fit. Many, I fear, take it up as a little bit of fashionable religious work, suited to the younger members of the religious communities. Many, too, view it as a kind of set-off to a week of self-indulgence, folly, and worldliness. All such persons are an actual hindrance rather than a help to this sacred service. Then again, there are many who sincerely love Christ, and long to serve Him in the Sunday school, but who are not really fitted for the work. They are deficient in tact, energy, order, and rule. They lack that power to adapt themselves to the children, and to engage their young hearts, which is so essential to the Sunday school worker. It is a great mistake to suppose that every one who stands idle in the marketplace is fit to turn into this particular branch of Christian labor. On the contrary, it needs a person thoroughly fitted of God for it, and if it be asked, how are we ever to be supplied with suited agents for this branch of evangelistic service? I reply, just in the same way as you are to be supplied in any other department, by earnest, persevering, believing prayer. I am most thoroughly persuaded that if Christians were more stirred up by God's Spirit to feel the importance of the Sunday school, if they could only seize the idea that it is, like the tract depot and the preaching, part and parcel of that most glorious work to which we are called in these closing days of Christendom's history, if they were more permeated by the idea of the evangelistic nature and object of Sunday school work, they would be more instant and earnest in prayer, both in the closet and in the public assembly, that the Lord would raise up in our midst a band of earnest, devoted, wholehearted Sunday school workers. This is the lack, and may God, in His abounding mercy, supply it. He is able, and surely He is willing. But then He will be waited on and inquired of, and He is the rewarder of them that diligently seek Him. I think we have much cause for thankfulness and praise for what has been done in the way of Sunday schools during the last few years. I well remember the time when many of our friends seemed to overlook this branch of work altogether. Even now many treat it with indifference, thus weakening the hand and discouraging the hearts of those engaged in it. But I shall not dwell upon this, inasmuch as my theme is the Sunday school, and not those who neglect or oppose it. I bless God for what I see in the way of encouragement. I have often been exceedingly refreshed and delighted by seeing some of our very oldest friends rising from the table of their Lord, and proceeding to arrange the benches on which the dear little ones were soon to be ranged to hear the sweet story of a Saviour's love. And what could be more lovely, more touching, or more morally suited, than for those who had just been remembering the Saviour's dying love to seek, even by the arrangement of the benches, to carry out his living words, "Suffer the little children to come to me." There is very much I should like to add as to the mode of working the Sunday school, but perhaps it is just as well that each worker should be wholly cast upon the living God for counsel and help as to details. We must ever remember that the Sunday school, like the tract depot and the preaching, is entirely a work of individual responsibility. This is a grand point, and where it is fully understood, and where there is real earnestness of heart and singleness of eye, I believe there will be no great difficulty as to the particular mode of working. A large heart, and a fixed purpose to carry on the great work and fulfill the glorious mission committed to us, will effectually deliver us from the withering influence of crotchets and prejudices, those miserable obstructions to all that is lovely and of good report. May God pour out his blessing on all Sunday schools, upon the pupils, the teachers, and the superintendents. May he also bless all who are engaged, in any way, in the instruction of the young. May he cheer and refresh their spirits by giving them to reap many golden sheaves in their special corner of the one great and glorious gospel field. Ever believe me, dearest A. Your deeply affectionate C.H.M.